Hi, Internet viewers. This is Frank Rauscher again. What I'm going to do on this video is we're going to start mapping out the boundaries for all the feathers that have to go on. But what we're going to do is there's groupings. You got the primaries, tertiaries, and all the other little feathers plus the tail feathers. Well, we're going to start mapping out just where the breast starts. Where the wings go and everything else. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to bring the camera down, and then what we'll do is we'll get started on doing that portion of it. And we'll probably take in a couple of steps because we really got to get the boundary set, and then we can start approaching into drawing. But first, we got to get the boundary set. So bear with me, and bring the camera down, and we'll start marking things out. Okay, I hope you could see what I've done so far here. And I've pretty much got the cheeks out, got the body pretty much smoothed out. Now what I want to do is make sure you got your center lines back in there again. This is very important. I got the center line coming back for the head, and then you want to get the center line back for the body. I'm going to heavy this up a little bit more so you can see it, hopefully. And the same way with the belly, at least up to here. And then when you look down on the center line from the top of the head, I want you to draw this so that when you lay your ruler on there, that the whole line is right at the edge of your ruler, so that you're looking straight in on it, so that this isn't going off on the skew on the underneath side here. You're coming down and you're coming back here. So this should cross the center line of the belly here, or the bottom, I should say, center line. And you'll have all your center lines set up, okay? And that's a must. Now, what I'm going to give you is some measurements. Here's your cheek area that we had developed, and that slides right up to the bottom of the beak here, okay? And if you didn't get that, that's what I would like you to do. I'm looking at this, and I may have to clean out a little more material in here just to show that this has more of a throat. It should look like that if I press my finger into there. So we'll get that as we go. It's not that critical. What I want to do now is we have the outline of the cheek area, I call it. And here's your eye center line up here. When I drilled this, I drilled it a little too low, so I moved it up. And when I go to set the eye, I will use a filler, and we'll be able to take care of that. So here's what I want to try to do. And follow me on this. I'm going to use a flexible ruler, but you can use a stiff ruler too, like this one here, which is pretty solid, but a flex ruler works out pretty good here. Now, what I want to do, I'm going to try to set up certain points off of what we already carved out, okay? Now, from the back end of the beak to this point right here, I hope I'm in line with your camera here. I want to measure back from the tip of the beak at the end here to the on the cheek a half inch and put a dot right there. Okay, and then I want to come over on the other side and do the exact same thing. So I'm going from the back end of the beak on the lower section back onto the cheek. I put another dot right there. Okay, now the other thing, that should be both of them. If I look straight down the center line of the beak, they should be relatively about almost 3/8 from the center out where it touches the cheeks. And that should be, and it's just a guide to get you there. We're trying to establish this wing, and that's one thing I want to start going with. So to do this, the measurements get a little tricky, but here's what I'm going to try to do. You have this center line of the head coming down, touching the center line of the belly here on the underneath side. And I'm going to ask you to lay your ruler where they intersect, right on that spot right there, and come over and look straight down as you're on the center line of the belly here, and come out a half inch. And this is not a lay down dimension or a wrap, where you bend it. No, you're looking from the top down, and where the half inch mark is on your ruler, you mark it there. And then you look on this side and you get a half inch mark and you put it over on this side. Okay, so they're a half inch out as the crow flies, not on a bend here. If you actually bend it, it's probably more like 5/8. So if you did a wrap from here to here, it would be 5/8. Okay, and from here to here, it's 5/8. Now, from this point right here, I want you to measure back another 3/4 of an inch going towards the tail. And you lay your ruler down and you put a dot right there. And then I want you to go from that dot 9/16 down to the next one, and you put a dot there. Now, we have an arc going here, and I got to show you how to create it. So we're putting marks right now. Right now, we have a dot up here that we established. I came back 3/4 of an inch. Now what I'm going to do is lay my ruler across there again, and I'm going to look down from the edges, looking straight down. I'm going to go 5/8. And 5/8 lands about there. And then if I look straight down from that dot on my ruler, 5/8, it takes me down to here. Okay? So, and if you were doing like a lay down dimension, it's almost 3/4. Okay? It's always like almost 1/8 of an inch more. So if you wanted to lay it down and measure from there down to here, it's 3/4, both sides. Okay? And then we came back 9/16 from this dot to this one, and I want to come out here again, and let me get this ruler where it's more comfortable for me to hold and show. And if I look straight down, I want to go 11/16, so it's a 1/16 more than the 5/8. And I put a dot there, and I put a dot over here that's out 11/16 right to there. Okay? And if you're looking for a lay down dimension, it's probably going to be about about 7/8. Okay. Now, here's what we have. We have established this point here, and we have this point here, this point here, and this point here. And that was dimensions that we went from the center out on both sides. And what we're going to do is we're going to start from the 1/2 inch we measured down at the cheek, and you got a dot there and you got a dot here. I'm going to start making an arc, and I'm going to go through that dot. I'm going to come around to that dot. So we're arcing all the way through. I'm going to keep on continuing from one dot to the next dot. And then you got this little bump out at the end here. And I'm going to ask you to head towards that from the last dot right on over. Now, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And I think on this side, let's see if I did that right. Yeah, it's a 1/2 inch out. We had a dot there. Then we have the dot. Now here we go. We're going to come out from here, which was on the cheek, to this one. And we roll this one down. It's a slight arc. This one's from dot to dot, still arcing. And then we had this one here, which it really should have fell back here. But this was at 11/16 or, let's see, let me measure that just to make sure. I said 11/16 out. Yeah, as you're looking down. But as the crow flies, it's 11/16. But if I did a wrap, it's like 7/8. So from here to there, it's 7/8. And we go through that dot and we end down here. This may be a little confusing in doing it, but we're trying to define where the wing is. Okay, and that's what this has given us. And we're done the same thing over here. So just follow me on that. If you have any questions, definitely get with me. I will try to answer what I can. It's trying to get a nice flow for the wings, okay? And in here. So now, the other thing I want to do is this bird has a mantle right in here. So we want to establish the mantle. So what I'm going to ask you to do to help yourself out is from the tail down, I want you to measure in along the center line. You can lay the measurement down, go 1.5 inches, and you put a dot right there, okay? And then what I'm going to ask you to do is to measure from that dot going up further, and I'm going to try to get you to lay the measurement down again. I want you to come up from that dot. Let's see if I can get this right. 7/8. So from this dot, let me just make sure it's 1.5, yeah, which is that dot right here. I'll make it a little heavier so you can see it. And then we got to still go forward. And the forward is, I'm going to take that back. It's probably best if we do it from here up 3/4 inch and put a dot right there. Okay. Now, so we have a dot here on the center line of the back here. Then we're going to come over here where we established the wing line. I'm going to measure from the cheek down along that line 3/8. So I come down 3/8 from here to here, and I put a dot. Then I'm going to come over here and do this exact same thing. Come off of this one, 3/8, put a dot. Okay. Now, you can see I almost have 3/8 all the way through around when I'm drawing this. I want to arc this from here. Nothing's going to be straight line. This is going to be the mantle. I'm going to come off of here, and I'm keeping about a 3/8 distance all the way around. So I'm arcing this up like that. Okay, so it's about 3/8 down here, but it's almost 3/8 off of that cheek, and you're coming around to that dot. And we're going to do the same thing on this side, except that it's not 3/8 on this side. On this side, you're just off the cheek about 3/16 when you're passing the cheek right here. So you're about 3/8 out. So you're aiming this way, and then you want to get a nice flow similar to what we have here. We're trying to make it symmetrical, but it's not 100% symmetrical. And we're arcing this around like that. Now you can come around here, you can come around here, and you can come around to there. And that's what we're trying to do. Put the boundary for the mantle. This isn't gospel, but it's close. And what we're really trying to do is this area right here, for any of you that have the patterns, this is that point right here that we established, is that point right there, okay? And that's the limits, and this is what we were trying to bring back up, and it's this here, right here. You can see it here. And it's hard to sort of draw it because it's got moving points all along here, but that's the best I feel as though we could do as far as measurements go. And we can start with this to get you started for laying in feathers, and this will get you going here. And then what we're going to end up doing is marking all the feathers out. And I want to try to do this in segments, but I'm going to do this video just to get this boundary set. And then on the next one, we are going to start formulating how we draw feathers within these areas here, okay? And what I mean by that is I'll show you one that I've done already. This has that boundary. Here's the wing area here, and here's the mantle right here. Okay, and here's the wing over here, and it comes all the way back to that bump back there. And then I'm going to show you how to draw all of these in a proper sequence and try to give you some measurements and angles and how to draw them in on the next video, okay? So I just want to show you how to do this, and then I'll show you how to do the mantle. And then what we'll do is we'll start marking out the heads. And then some of these we're going to be burning in so that you don't lose it. And then we undercut them to raise them and so on. So we will show you that as we go. So I hope you got something out of this one. And I just wanted to get this established for starters. I hope there isn't any confusion on this. It can be because most of the times when I have a class, I usually can mark up somebody's, but I'm trying to give you specific dimensions here to establish how to get to these points. And one of them I just noticed, from the beak to where it touches the belly here, if I measure that, and I think I had a measurement for that as well, that is going to be from the beak right to the belly about 2 inches. So if you're trying to nail to make sure that you have the same setup, we went from the beak, the tip of the beak, to where it touches the belly center line here. It should be 2 inches. So hopefully that'll get you there. Hope you got something out of this segment of the video. And if you did, I'd ask you to give me a thumbs up. And if you could subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate that as well. And I thank you, and we'll start marking feathers out from here on the next video. Thanks again. Bye now.